Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the program Agenda. It's a new week, it's a new day, it's a Monday, and it's May 16, 2022. Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us this morning, and maraming salamat po to all of you subscribers of Cignal TV, viewers of One News PH here on channels 8 and 250. And of course, as always, very grateful for those of you who watch us, make an effort to catch us on Facebook and YouTube, whatever part of the world you may be, lalo na sa ating mga kababayang nag-aalala o nalulungkot, nalulumbay, namimiss ang Pinas. Okay, this is our way of keeping you updated with the news and with our interviews. So today, let's start with the Daily Starter para umpisa na kagad. Okay, our Daily Starter for today is from the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verses 2 and 3. Ito po, no, hamon sa inyo, encouragement to all of you. Enlarge the place of your tent, and let the curtains of your habitations be stretched out. Do not hold back, lengthen your cords, and strengthen your stakes. For you will spread abroad to the right and to the left, and your offspring will possess the nations and will people the desolate cities. That is an encouragement from the Lord. And hamon po sa ating mga Pilipino. It's a challenge to many of us, to all of us. You know, the elections is finished. The majority has made the choice. And soon the winners will be declared. And some of you may still be moping, pining, weeping, angry, etc. Tama na. Move on, because no matter what the outcome is, at the end of the day, you are not going to have food on the table if you don't plant, if you don't work, if you don't cook, etc., etc. And more importantly, wag po tayo yung tipid ng tipid, okay? Expand, not just business, your house, fix your room, make yourself feel better about yourself. If you don't have a house, if you don't have anything else, then expand your mind. Okay, yun po, no? Daily Starter po. Now, let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star today, Monday, and aking nag-aalboroto itong aking iPad. Okay. Let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. And the front page, the headline, exempt micro enterprises from wage hike. Because apparently the regional wage boards over the weekend approved increases in the minimum wage of workers excuse me, in Metro Manila and Western Visayas. And as a result, pumalag. Medyo nag-raise ng hand in opposition yung mga ibang, yung mga chambers of commerce, and also the Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion, said that micro enterprises should be exempt from the implementation of the new minimum wage hike for workers because many of the maliliit na mga businesses have not recovered from COVID, etc., etc. So that's going to be certainly a cause for debate. Because some would say, well, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. And some people will say, if we get out of the kitchen, there will be no food. Okay, so we exempt micro enterprises from wage hike. At the top of the front page, Senate Magic 12 will be proclaimed, hopefully by Wednesday, according to the COMELEC. Okay, so dapat many people thought it would be Monday, so apparently it will be, estimate is Wednesday na ma-officially declare yung Magic 12, okay? I don't know if that is the appropriate term, magic. Kasi may mga nagsasabing nagka-magican para sa 1 or 2 or 3 senator. Parang paano pumasok yan sa Magic 12? Okay, anyway, the photo at the top of the Philippine Star shows, okay, ito po, no? 3 Philippine athletes. First, Carlos Yulo. Second, Kim Mangrobang, that's the lady on the left, and Agatha Wong, who sustained their dazzling shows and became multi-medal winners for Team Philippines. Umani sila. Buti sila, nakakuha sila ng gold. Kanya nga, gold-plated. Pero nakakuha sila ng medalya. Hard-earned gold medals for the Philippines. Congratulations, Philippine athletes. You give us cause for celebration. You give us hope and aspiration. Okay, now ito po, yung Philippine Star. The Philippine Star has announced that from 20 pesos, okay, they will now be selling their newspaper at 25 pesos a day for the Philippine Star. Kasi tumaas na raw. The price of newsprint and deliveries, etc. has really gone up. And I think the last time they actually increased prices, the price, the 20 peso per copy price has been the price since 2008. So pagbigyan nyo na po kami. Kasi dyan lang din po kami kumukuha ng kakainin namin, dyan sa benta ng dyaryo. So ayun po. So beginning today, it's now 25 pesos per copy. Now yung iba naman sa inyo, inaabangan nyo na lang yung programa ng agenda para makalibre. Pero I will still make you work for it because I only go through the headers. Okay, now that photo that you see in the middle of the front page, election officials turning over certificates of canvass to the National Board of Canvassers at the PICC yesterday. Tuloy pa rin po ang bilangan. Meanwhile, okay, this is the one that is cause for concern. I will have to go into a little detail here. Alert level 1 in Metro Manila until May 31. However, there are certain regions in the north and down south that will now be placed under alert level 2. Okay, so please, nakikiusap po kami, i-check nyo na sa inyong mga local officials, health officials, government hospitals, if your area is covered under alert level 2 because we are sure this is going to cause some confusion. Unfortunately, there's just too many to read, okay? Too many to read and I don't want to make a mistake. Baka mamaya awayin pa niyo ko. Meanwhile, Transport Group 2, President Duterte, please suspend the fuel excise tax and VAT component on fuel, etc. because hirap na sila. Okay, ang problema, 1 month ago na lang si Mr. President. So what are the chances that he would change his mind? Okay, President Duterte in that lower photo confers the presidential saber on class valedictorian cadet first class Cristel Ivani Quemado during the graduation rites at the PMA Academy yesterday. Babae na naman ang pumasok na top of the class. Congratulations. Iba talaga yung mga babae. Last but not the least, U.S. maintains stand on South China Sea arbitral ruling. As far as the United States is concerned, nothing has changed. Okay, they go by the international decision that the South China Sea is open for international navigation and is not the property of the People's Republic of China. Okay, now let's go to our interviews. And we have with us, ito medyo interesting po ito. I love this because as you know, I love the topic of agriculture. But whether you are into agriculture, mahilig kayo o hindi, please realize, okay, the reason agriculture as an industry sector, whatever, is important because yung binibili nyong bigas, that's agriculture. Gulay, agriculture. Manok, agriculture. Baboy, agriculture. Gatas, agriculture. There's so many things. Isda is agriculture that, you know, you take it for granted. Basta makabili ka. But so many people who used to buy by the kilo is now buying 1/4 kilo. Isang hiwa na lang po. Isang piraso na lang pechay. So with the new administration, it is important that we pay attention to what's happening to agriculture. We have with us the chairman of the board of the Federation of Free Farmers, and he himself is a former Secretary of Agriculture. Let's bring in Sir Leonardo Montemayor. Sec, good morning, sir.
Good morning also, Cito. Glad to be back in your program.
Okay, pasensya mo na, no? Hindi ko talaga alam. Ano ba nickname mo?
Leonie.
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 Okay.
Leonie Perez ng Comelec dati.
Oh, okay. Matagal na yun, ha? Okay. Sir Leonie, I already gave the pasakalye, no? That how important agriculture is. Now, na-announce na yung DILG secretary, na-announce na yung incoming DepEd secretary, but it's too quiet as far as agriculture is concerned, considering that agriculture is probably the most important sector to consider. Because naisip ko lang, pasensya na, no, I don't talk too much, I allow guests, no, but I need to state this for our viewers. People keep talking about infrastructure, PPP, build. They talk about energy, but everyone knows that that takes at least 3 years, if not more, to get off the ground. Agriculture is immediate. Kumbaga, nandiyan dyan, bumato ka ng tamsi na may pain sa dagat, uwi kang may isda. Now, what's going on? Why is it so silent? What do you think is happening?
You're absolutely correct, Cito. Although during the campaign period, agriculture was a very hot topic. In fact, we in the sector, in our case, we were able to interview the 3 leading candidates, si Bongbong, Lenny, and also si Isko Moreno. So, and then in the pronouncement subsequent by these candidates and the others, palaging binabanggit yung agri, di ba? Infrastructure, etc. So the silence is right now. Kasi siguro, hinihintay ng sektor namin at saka yung general public kung ano ba magiging totohanan ba itong mga pahayag during the campaign na pag kung sino man ang manalo, bibigyan ng importansya yung agriculture, yung small scale industries, etc. So we want to find out what exactly will be happening. Now, hindi lang Cito yung pagkain ang papel ng agriculture dito. Yung trabaho din. Kasi I mentioned this one time kay candidate BBM when we interviewed him, you need much less investment to create one job in agriculture compared to an industrial job. You just mentioned, sometimes you just have to throw a seed into the ground, tutubo na. Anong investment yan? Hindi naman. Certainly, it's not in the hundreds of thousands or $1 million pesos to create one job. So we can create a lot of jobs, as you said, immediately within the next couple of months if we just put our hearts and minds and some resources to the sector. And then we want to keep our people as much as possible in the countryside. We feel strongly, given proper support, maiwasan po yung masyado pong paglipat mula sa kanayunan natin sa mga kalungsuran and exacerbating our problems here in the cities, overcrowding, traffic situation, and all that. So agri has a big role to play, not only in giving us more food at reasonable prices, but also in creating more jobs and providing for a more balanced growth vis-a-vis the industrial sector. So,
Okay. Yeah.
yes,
Go
Rico.
ahead, sir.
Yeah. Ang critical talaga dito, yung mindset natin, and especially of our policymakers and government people, etc. Kasi each time, I noticed in the recent pronouncement, yung nagsasalita yung business and so on, parating binabanggit credit ratings, Moody's, Fitch, Bloomberg, they need to, attract investment to fill in the, the investment gap. But we should all realize our farmers are probably the biggest investors. Hindi nga lang natin nakikita kasi maliliit na magsasaka yan, but if you will consolidate all of the investments, the work, the resources put into agri and fisheries by our small farmers and fishers, I'm pretty sure they will dwarf all of these investments, whether direct or indirect investment.
Now, I think
yes.
you mentioned mindset, Kalyon, ang worry ko kasi is in the past, the mentality of governments, administrations of past and even present is that it has to be private sector driven. That's one. Kumbaga, the industry is reliant on people who will put up the farms, etc., mga foreign direct investments, etc. And then also, hindi na papag-usapan yung self-sufficiency. Kasi napansin ko lang, looking at you, listening to you, puting-puti na yung buhok mo. Ako, siguro mga isang taon na lang, hahabulin na rin kita ng paputian ng buhok. But I remember when I first discovered agriculture, it was when they were launching the concept of if you have a small plot of land, pwede kang maglagay ng maliit na palakihan ng hito, pwede kang maglagay sa ibabaw ng palakihan ng hito na yon ng mga pato, tapos pwede kang maglagay ng konting manok, meron kang kambing, may baboy ka, etc. In other words, it was not at the time when I was in college, it was not about profit, but it was if you have a small plot of land, mabubuhay mo yung sarili mo. Hindi ka magiging milyonaryo pero hindi ka patay gutom. And now the government through the past administration have given some farmers, if not all, 1 hectare or 2 hectares. Sabi ko, whatever happened to all of that?
Yeah. The reality, Cito, is that yung agriculture in the Philippines is really small farm-based. Our average hectareage would be, I would say, probably in the range of 2 hectares below. So that's the reality. And this is our main productive force in the Philippines. And it can be done. Yung sinabi mong parang small farm, but if we can do production in a diversified fashion, let's say maybe the main crop in some areas will be rice, others will be coconut, others will be corn-based. But a farmer should not be reliant lamang doon sa principal crop na yon. Kasi pag pumalpak yung presyo ng crop niya doon, saan siya kukuha ng kita para sa kanyang pagsustento sa kanyang pamilya? So put in there high-value crop like vegetables, and this can be very lucrative or profitable, even with a small relatively smaller area, 50 square meters, 100 square meters, lalo pa kung may magandang linkage sa merkado. And I'm not thinking of markets, let's say, in Manila. If you are planting...
Barangay.
In the barangay, yes. May mga barangay trading systems naman doon. So yung karating na barangay, kulang sila sa ganitong gulay. So you meet the demand of barangay. Kung may surplus ka pa, doon sa palengke ng munisipyo.
Punta ako sa Boracay, Calyoni, akala ko, sabi ko, siguro bili na lang ako ng 1-2 hektarya dito sa may mainland, magtatayo ako ng farm para masupplyan ko dito yung mga restaurant. I'm sure makakabenta. And then I found out all of those businesses were buying products made in Metro Manila, in Pampanga, mga corporate products. Sabi ko, ano na nangyari dito? Meron ka na ngang local business, pagkatapos yung pagkain mo, binibili mo pa sa ibang, ano ba namang kabaliwan yan?
You're exactly correct, Cito. You go to Coron, the resort, the same thing. Bohol, the same thing. Kulang na kulang sa vegetable production, including organically produced, vegetables. So there is a market. But we just have to stimulate the linkages between those.
Pero Leonie, you talked about mindset. How do we change that mindset? I mean, the current administration, Secretary Dar, his solution is throw more money at it. I'm not being disrespectful. I tried all I could to support the DA until I just essentially gave up. Parang puro na lang importation, puro na lang it's up to you. But their solution is to double or triple the budget of the DA. But how will that help, or how should the DA be performing?
Yeah. Well, the budget is important, of course, kasi there are certain requirements, especially in infrastructure, di ba? Mga karsada, irrigation systems, R&D, research, etc., market linkaging. So we need, napakalit ang budget natin, compare natin sa Thailand. I think our agri-budget is only 1/2 compared to that in Thailand. Compared to Vietnam, Vietnam is triple our actual budget. So it's really a necessary component, but it's, I think, as I said, the mindset, the execution, and I would say, Cito, no, if I can put it in a crude slogan, we should dream or think big, but we should act small. No?
Meaning?
We should act local. How to translate all of these grand plans about agriculture, self-reliance and all that, into on the ground level, farmer level, barangay level, LGU level. Let me cite an example. No? Yung patubig. We rely right now on basically on big irrigation system under the National Irrigation Administration. Napakamahal ng to set up a big system. I think by now probably to irrigate 1 hectare, I suspect now you need about 2 million pesos investment, capital outlay for that. But if we can go into simple things, seemingly simple things like rainwater harvesting, no? There are examples of this in San Nicolas, Ilocos Norte. The local government there over the past decade, together with the Bureau of Soils and Water Management, they set up a series of small water impounding, parang mini lakes, small lake. So pagdating po ng tag-init, meron silang papukunan na pandilig sa kanilang mga dry season crop, whether it's gulay or watermelon, etc. And then the mini lakes can be used also for, you can seed them with tilapia, etc. And it can be a area for recreation also. For
I think so, we have we have the know-how, we have the technology, aquaponics, hydroponics. Kung nagtitipid lang, of course, pagtatanim ng bigas ay ng palay, hindi na pwede yun, ano? But you're correct, a combination of these things. But the question is, is there someone who can really do it? Because, Manny Piñol, it was the former Secretary of Agriculture, and it was only after he left the establishment that we learned so much about agriculture, his agricultural endeavors and his goals. And then, of course, you with the Federation of Free Farmers, parang pag wala na kayo sa opisina, mas marami pa kayong nasasabi at nagagawa. Bakit ganun?
Part of it is the bureaucratic one siguro. The nature of the bureaucracy. May COA rules, di ba? And then after a certain period siguro, you've been there for some time, kumbaga stable ka na . So the mindset is not so much more innovative type of mindset. Pero basta steady as she goes. So the leadership in DA should light a fire. Kumbaga, under this
Okay.
our bureaucrats, our bureaucracy, and make sure that all of this increase in budgets are properly utilized. And then the problems in, for example, yung hindi na pwede yung tanim ka ng tanim na hindi maliwanag kung sino yung bibili at anong
Mhm.
presyo. So a very, very close connection with the market is in order. And then it cannot be just primary production. You have to now go into a lot of processing. Again,
Okay.
at the local level, kahit ibote na lang muna yung mga sumobra yung kwan,
Yeah.
yung papaya, i-preserve
We,
mo, di ba?
we
Oh,
were talking about that in
yeah,
the early years, di ba?
yeah.
Preservation,
Oh,
merong mga office ng government nagtuturo ng food. In
oh,
fact,
oh.
when I go around with the BMEG team, kasi I'm a volunteer lecturer on all the wrong ways of how to raise pigs, sinasabi ko sa kanila, hanap kayo ng hanap ng biyahero. Hindi na pwede ang biyahero ngayon kasi habang bumabiyahe sila, nagkakalat din sila ng sakit na kailangan i-scale up nyo yung baboy nyo. Imbis na yung binibenta ninyo, katayin ninyo, gawin yung tusino, gawin yung langgunisa, etc. So you actually stretch or increase your profit margin.
Yes. At saka, Kwan, there is a niche for this type of activities, no? At local level. I know, for example, of one cooperative in San Jose, Nueva Ecija. They supply a big chunk of the onion requirement of Jollibee,
Mm.
which I think is all the way in San Pedro, Laguna. So,
Uh-huh.
nakaka-expand sila to that extent, no?
Okay,
So,
Kalyoni,
those,
tanong ko lang no kasi we were talking about mindset etc. When you had the chance to speak with BBM, what did you feel coming out of that conversation or interview with BBM na parang are you hopeful? Do you think he understands the problem? Kasi syempre, alam mo, Metro Manila person si BBM. Of course, he lived in Ilocos for a few years, but those were his, younger years. Anong basa mo kay BBM in terms of agriculture?
I was quietly impressed, actually, in the course of our 1.5 hour interview.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi pinakita niya, he has a quite breadth, I think a breadth of understanding and knowledge of the situation. Like sabi niya, agriculture, it should not be just rice. It's also other commodities. And he specifically emphasized fisheries. And wag na, let's emphasize aquaculture and mariculture.
Mm-hmm.
Ganun ba? So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya rice-centric. And that's also our way of thinking. And he was saying also, of course, it's not just production. We must make sure the outputs of our R&D are really brought to the field and carried out by our farmers.
Mm-hmm.
And then yung the digital economy. Sabi niya, siguro this is one area also where we can improve and modernize our agriculture and then attract more young people to go into it. Kasi kung merong challenge, yun. So, malawak eh. Ang hindi lang, I don't think many people realize this. To listen to some of his YouTube, meron siyang mga series of YouTube presentations on various topics, including rice tarrification, problems with irrigation. I listened to some of them. So sabi ko, may alam si Bongbong. Hindi lang familiar sa mga tao yan.
Okay. Well, that's encouraging. Ang tanong, the question is, did you get any idea or within your sector? Kasi syempre lahat naman tayo, alam mo, malalaki radar natin when it concerns us. Yung tenga natin nakakasagap ng balita dyan. Now, meron ba kayong pinupush na potential candidate for agriculture secretary or have you heard someone whose name is cropping up? Kasi, it didn't take long for Martin Romualdez to surface as the future Speaker of the House, for Sara Duterte as DILG. Yung si Ka In-siong, he was the one who said that Benhar Abalos should be Agri-Secretary pero mukhang may ibinigay sa kanyang iba and it turns out DILG. What about agriculture? What does your crystal ball tell you?
Right now, Cito, nag-uusap pa kami. We're
Mhm.
still talking among ourselves. I think what is important here, I've been stressing to our different colleagues. Sabi ko, whoever is appointed, importante rito yung he'll be able to mobilize the different stakeholders,
Mhm.
including whether you're pro or anti-bongbong, for example. I noticed in this instance, those who supported Lenny, ang daming idealistic people dyan. Both the young people and then the professionals and even the senior citizens, they are very much concerned with our country, especially for our farmers and their folk. But because of the political divide, alangan silang pumasok eh. So let's hope that whoever sits atop the DA will be able to bring together these disparate forces towards a common goal.
Okay.
To improve our, correct.
May concern ako that I have spoken to several former DA secretaries, you included, tapos may mga iba pa akong mga cabinet members na nakausap in the past. And many of them have shared or the opinion na nakakasagabal or one of the obstacles in promoting agriculture, education, and health is the local government code. Kasi the local government code gives too much power to mayors, governors, who in turn can decide if they are going to go, if they're going to put their money in agriculture, etc., or urban development. Kasi para mas marami raw IRA. Ngayon, di ba, yung Mandanas decision, mas marami pang lalong pera ang mga local government. What's your take on that? Kasi parang sinasabi ka, dahil just sa local government code niyan, nawala na lahat yung farm extension workers or yung mga technicians that traditionally have helped farmers.
Siguro two approaches dyan, Cito, no? We can work for an amendment to the local government code so that in the increased share of the LGUs from the ERA, merong kumbaga may earmarking. So let's say if you got 100% additional increase, devote 10-20% of that to agri-related pursuit.
Hindi, kasi katulad
doon. Pwede gano'n, no? The other way, I'll just finish this. The other way is carrot approach. Kasi yung isa parang mandatory, pipilitin mo by law eh. And kung pipilitin ni BBM, he has the the forces in the legislature to do it, but carrot, counterparting. LGU ng Cavite, di ba? Ito yung programa ng DA. Ito, may programa kami sa baboy, programa kami sa sibuyas, storage, etc. Willing kami, magtaya kami, 50% ng kailangan dito. Magtaya rin kayo ng 50%.
Parang education, di ba? Yung eskwela, kalahati kay Mayor, kalahati sa DepEd.
Yes. So in effect, madodoble nila yung kanilang local government resources. So that would be another way of doing it.
Siguro sasanib na ako sa federasyon mo, Caglioni, kasi naiinis na ako. Hindi, there are mayors who will outlaw piggeries, poultry in their area para maging housing. Sabi ko dadalhin mo yung buong Metro Manila dyan sa probinsya mo, nababaliw ka na ba? Anong kakainin nyo? Semento at yero? So anyway, Caglioni, I guess this conversation will carry on as we always do. You're regularly invited to the program. And please let us know whatever you pick up. Kasi the choice of Secretary of Agriculture, as you pointed out, he will either unite everyone or he will divide everyone. Thank you very much, Caglioni.
Salamat din, Kasito.
Okay, and that's former Agriculture Secretary Leonardo Montemayor. He is the chairman of the board of the Federation of Free Farmers. We will go for a quick break, and when we return, ating pong pag-usapan, I'm not sure, I know it's about fashion, Pero ito kasi, misis ko nagdikta sa akin eh. Yung recycle, upcycle daw, parang ayaw nilang masayang, mabasura yung mga tela. So ginawa nilang NG or something. We will talk to our next guest after Prince Jimdel Ventura, founder and CEO of Where Forward. Babalikan natin when we come back from the break. Okay, welcome back to the program Agenda. Thank you for joining us today, Monday, the 16th of May, 2022. Our next guest is the founder and CEO of Where Forward. Now, what exactly is Where Forward? Let's find out from the guy, Prince Jimdel Ventura. Prince, good day to you.
Good day, Cito. Thank you for having me in the program.
Okay, what exactly is wear forward? Because, you know, conceptually, if someone gives you something, then you give something to someone. Pero I got the impression that wear forward is about upcycling. Could you explain what your company, organization, or is it an NGO all about?
All right. So before I explain about Where Forward, I just wanna explain like a brief background about it. And I'm a graduate of clothing technology from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. And throughout the program, I learned about the supply chain and how the industry works, including the beauty and ugly sides of fashion. And so before I graduated, I decided to not be a part of the wasteful and polluting system and instead do something that can create positive impact. And that's how Where Forward was born. And it was actually started as a project wherein we were asked to identify our personal fashion problems and then pick one problem to address through a creative project. And in my case, I found out that I have a lot of clothes in my closet that I don't use anymore, or it takes a long time before I use them again. And they can actually be considered as textile wastes. And when I look around and when I ask people, they have the same situation, but actually they don't see it as a problem yet. And you know what? Unfortunately, Cito, we do not wear at least 60% of clothes we own, and almost one third of Filipinos throw away a clothing item after wearing it just once. So can you imagine just once and then they just throw it away? And the fashion industry is also contributing to the carbon emissions, which is amounting to 10% globally. And textiles are a major source of primary microplastics in our oceans. And furthermore, it's sad that clothing is highly underutilized. And with the linear fashion system we have today, one garbage truck of used and unsold clothes and other textiles is incinerated or landfilled every second worldwide. Can you imagine that? And only about 10% end up being recycled, and only 8%, unfortunately, end up being reused. And with this, we are actually missing out on 460 billion US dollars of value each year by throwing away clothes we could still continue to wear. And so we aim to change that as we transition to circular fashion with Wear Forward. So
Okay.
basically,
Yeah.
Wear Forward is revolutionizing fashion and mindsets by eliminating textile wastes. We are increasing clothing lifespans and utilization, and by collaborative consumption of fashion items through clothing as a service. So as a fashion tech startup, we are not an NGO. As a fashion tech startup, it has to involve technology, in our case, a website or an application. It has to be scalable, and it has to be disruptive or will change how we live or do things. And we are also a social enterprise in a sense that we are a business with both environmental and social missions. And Wear Forward is the first of its kind clothing as a service that provides AI-powered circular fashion marketplace and virtual wardrobe, where Filipinos can share, manage, and source pre-loved, sustainable, upcycled, that's the clothes, accessories, and other textiles. And they can also avail fashion and refashion services through the website wearforward.com. So we also have a fashion carbon footprint calculator wherein Filipinos can find out about their personal fashion footprint and the steps they can take to reduce their impact and be more mindful about their consumption and fashion choices. And in our website, basically, we have a lot of features. We also have an AI stylist wherein it can help you dress up for a day, and it can help you recommend localized, personalized clothes from other people. Basically, we want to foster community sharing of clothing, just like what's happening through our sharing of houses and cars through these apps, Airbnb or Grab,
So
Uber.
para kang fashion Siri.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it just occurred to me, you know, it's like a fashion series. Okay, Prince, I have a dinner tomorrow evening. What do I wear? This is the venue, this is the occasion, etc. Parang ganun ba?
Yes, that's part of the AI system in our platform.
Okay, now Prince, walk me through this thing about upcycle, about cutting down the waste, etc. Because okay, I'll be transparent. We in media, especially talk show hosts, there has been that culture for so many decades that you must always try to wear something new, something nice, especially the women. So it got to the point that many talk show hosts or these people, they are loaned clothes just for a newscast or for a program. In my case, through the years, I've accumulated more jackets, more suits than I ever care for. Kasi katulad mo, UP rin ako, scholar din ako ng bayan, and maong t-shirt talo-talo na. Pero it's a requirement. What do you do with all of these suits? Kasi sabi ko parang ang init-init sa Pinas, I'm not in the studio, and how many suits do I need?
Right, exactly, Cito. So actually, it's very interesting that you mentioned about that because I'm also a stylist and a wardrobe person for hosts, for films. And yeah, that's also one of their concerns, especially those who are like mindful about their consumption. So some hosts wanted me to dress them up with clothes that are not really new, but upcycled or maybe shared or already in the wardrobe of Wear Forward. So yeah, basically in Wear Forward, we have this program called Donate Your Textile Wastes, wherein we are collecting textiles from all over the Philippines. And we have now partners like Mega World Lifestyle Malls, Ayala Malls, and others. So basically, when we receive the items, we categorize them into different categories. So those categories wherein if the clothes are still in very good condition, so we put them up for resale, for rental, or for swapping, or for donation during our outreach activities. Because again, we want to cut on the other processes that can still add carbon emissions. But for the other textiles wherein may mga sira sila, or small holes, etc., we just repair them or alter them. And for those na medyo konti na lang yung parts na pwede nating magamit, we put them up for upcycling or downcycling. So for upcycling, meaning that we are transforming an item into a different one para we can still, the value is still there or the value can be increased depending on the item. So for example, with a worn out jacket, we can turn them into bags or we can turn them into accessories or even textile art or homeware. So there are a lot of opportunities there. And I also want to encourage our viewers to also look in their closet and maybe if you know how to sew or to alter, do the things that you can to save and prolong the lifespan and utilization of your clothes.
Yeah, I met a lady in Tokyo who medyo social siya, may pera siya, but you know, she reached a point where she said, we were walking and we were in a group and I saw that she had a bag that was very unusual. It was made of fabric, parang medyo kakaiba yung design. And I said, your handbag is very different. And she said, oh, Cito, I got skirt, branded skirt, but old already. I make so-so and make bag. And nung tiningnan ko, hindi ko nasasabihin Italian brand yung skirt niya. Nandun yung label sa loob. I say, okay, that's a pretty cool idea. So that's what you were saying, from a jacket or a skirt, you can turn it into a bag, a knapsack, or whatever.
Yes, exactly, Cito. So we've been doing that since 2019 and mostly private clients. And again, when we're dressing up people for their events or projects, we at least use some of the scrap fabrics or the clothes that we have collected before we have the option to buy new resource or raw materials.
Well, I'm one of those who always believe that a man must always have at least one good suit. But when you have 20 in your closet, that's ridiculous. I remember, you know, it just occurred to me, you know, I don't want to be morbid about it, Prince, but, you know, people pass away. And you know, I know several celebrities who have passed away, and I kind of wonder, I go like, I wonder what they did with his clothes. And you know, parang, do you get donations like that? It's like, you know, these are all nice brands, nice clothes, but the owner has passed away and the family gives it to you to dispose of?
Yes, there's one interesting donor wherein they had this massive decluttering in their house, and they donated like around 4 generations of clothing owned.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's around 400 kilograms of textile waste. So some of the owners have passed away, but then they disclosed that again, those clothes have been sitting on their wardrobe for very long decades already and not even worn, even the recent years that the people have lived. But yeah, there are also people who are asking us if, for example, if they want to buy or rent out or swap the clothes that we have in our wardrobe, if are they already worn by other people. But then we explain to them that we have this process of sanitizing and preparing and refashioning the clothes before they are being worn by other people.
Simple naman yan eh. Makikita mo naman. Basta biyak yung likod, patay yung gumamit. Diba? I'm just trying to put humor here, Prince. Okay, so is it just clothes? Because I know of people who complain to me and tell me, pare, kung pwede lang ako maglagay ng karatula, if I could just put up a sign in front of every birthday that I have or Christmas, please do not send me barong fabric. Please do not send me pants or suits, etc. because they just have too much of it. Do you also get donations like that? Because I know people who called me, Kuya, we'll have a suit made for you. I said, I'll kill you if you send me a suit.
Yes, Cito. Basically, any type of textile. So tops, bottoms, even the formal wears, the barongs, the gowns, even shoes, worn out underwear, slippers, footwear, headwear, any textile or any fashion
What do you
item.
do? What do you do with the shoes? I mean, you know.
So basically, for the shoes or for those items that we cannot upcycle immediately right now, we are just keeping them in the aim of, again, diverting them to the landfills. But we are also cooking up some projects with the Philippine Textile Research Institute. Actually, we have 3 projects with them coming up in the next years. But basically, the 2 of the projects are about chemical recycling and mechanical recycling of textiles. And including na yung mga shoes or yung mga materials natin na mostly are synthetic naman.
Good, you just gave me a great idea. I mean, you know, a lot of guys are into rubber shoes, and you could actually put a liner, a plastic liner inside, and you can make it into a flower pot.
Oh, that's interesting idea as well. And I also have friends who are shoe designers, and they also make use of these recycled plastics or recycled materials to create the sole of their shoes. So very interesting.
Okay, now, so how do you keep it going? Because yes, you can get so many donations, but you need people, you need the staff, you need a logistics facility for pickup and deliveries. How do you keep it going? I assume you also make profit.
Yes, Cito. So right now, as a clothing as a service, we also offer services like fashion consulting, wardrobe management, styling, workshops, and so on. And mostly our profit comes from there because we haven't fully released our collections of products yet to the public because most of our products are either for private clients. And right now we are developing our system, our operation since, I noticed, and maybe you notice as well that our vision is very big, but then although there's a great opportunity, there's a lot of textiles coming in, but our operations or our team is small for now. But unfortunately, we have won 2 hackathons or innovation programs last year, and we secured funding from them. And right now, we are also in the process of securing more funding for us to develop our platform better and to cater to other or a wider audience for now.
Okay, but you said you do you talked about you were doing about training or something.
Yes. We also do workshops on upcycling or sewing in schools or in private companies who reach out to us. And in Where Forward, by the way, it's part of our business model to train informal workers and undergo circular fashion training program. And we teach them to upcycle textile waste into high quality products with a viable product market fit. So this is part of our social entrepreneurship aspect, wherein we want to involve the community and provide sustainable livelihood programs to them.
Well, maybe you can do a, package deal, scholarship, find people. Kasi, my wife sews. She sews. She's from the Netherlands and she teaches people how to sew as well. And sumisisid nga yan sa mga telahan eh. Siya sa Taytay, sa Divisoria. Hello, mga napuntahan ko lahat ng mga supplier ng botones, zipper, etc. But it's an interesting world that you guys are in. And I know that there are so many stores, or at least before COVID, the support area, that sells all of this used sewing machines. So maybe you could put that together with DSWD, a scholarship for someone who will get, once they graduate, they get a free sewing machine. And our viewers, imbis na maghahanap pa kayo, where is the meaning of my life, bumili na lang kayo ng used sewing machine, bigay nyo kay Prince so that Prince can make that as a final gift to a scholar. And just an idea, Prince, because I've always believed that the ability to sew is something that every Filipino must know. Kasi ako kahit papano, I can't operate a sewing machine, pero lalabanan ko kayo tahian di kamay. Gumawa na ako ng car cover, mano-mano lang.
Wow, thank you for that, Cito. And yeah, I want to reiterate to our viewers, it's very important to know these basic skills like sewing, repairs, because at the end of the day, again, it can help us extend the life of our clothes. And it's very interesting yung mga grandparents natin. Sila talaga yung gumagawa ng clothes, di ba, for the family. And nag-lay low na lang yun because of the Industrial Revolution.
Okay, well, Prince, we have to go, but thank you very much. And please stay in touch in case you have a program, new projects. And I do hope you'll consider that suggestion na humanap din ka ng sponsor. Ang top price for graduating the course is a sewing machine. With my wife, yung natuturuan niya, people have won in actual, best dressed for the night. Mga ganong mga balls. So, kaya nating lumevel up. Thank you very much, Prince.
Thank you, Cito. Good day.
Okay, that's Prince Jimdel Ventura, founder and CEO of Wear Forward. I'm sure you can find them on the website. Oh, Jim, nandiyan ka pa rin naman. Ano ba yung website nyo? Or Facebook?
Okay, so kindly go to wearforward.com and sign up. And you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, and just search Wear Forward.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim. Now I have to go to the blessing for the week. Ito po, declaration more than a blessing, okay? It is from the book of Numbers in the Bible, chapter 23, verses 19 to 20. Remember this because God has promised to love you, protect you, prosper you, etc. God is not man that he should lie, or a son of man that he should change his mind. Has he said, and will he not do it? Or has he spoken, and will he not fulfill it? Behold, I received a command to bless. He has blessed, and I cannot revoke it. Please read up that story in chapter 23 of the book of Numbers, and it is a lesson for all of us to remember that when blessings have been spoken to your life, when God has given you a word, He is not like you and me that we can change our minds, okay? When God says it, it's done. I hope you carry this belief through the week, and I will repeat it through the week so that we will all be encouraged, reminded, and affirmed that God has blessed us. Okay, that's all for today. That's Agenda. Thank you for joining us. God bless all of you. please keep it here on One News PH.